So the Bloodstalker is quite a complex creature. This thing can do so much, and I've had so many people asking me to do like a bit of a guide video on how to actually use it, every single thing that it can do, because you might not even know everything that this thing can do, but we're going to show you here in this video. So guys, go ahead and hit the like button. I will be talking in terms of PC controls, but I'll try and also include the controls for console on the screen at the same time. So yeah, let's get into it. So I do just want to note that maybe some of my translation from PC to console controls might not be 100% correct, but feel free to correct me down below. So first of all, we're going to start out with webbing. So there's a couple different ways that you can start off shooting out your webs. You can hit left click and that's going to shoot 1, or you can hit right click and that's going to shoot 2. But you can also hit left click and then point somewhere else and hit right click and then shoot 2. So 1 and then another. And that's almost a way of just positioning yourself to go in a certain direction. The way to actually get rid of your webs is you can hit X or Control. Both of those will work the exact same. So when using the single web, you can do a couple different things here. If I point directly at where the web is, or just in its general direction, and hold down left click, it's going to draw me in really quick like this. But if I was to point anywhere else, it's still going to draw me in, just not as quick. As you can see, it's almost like there's a resistance to it. And when you're actually using the left click, that is the way to pretty much just swing. So as you can see, I'm swinging quite a lot. Using the left click is the best way to get around while swinging like this, instead of like pulling yourself forward and launching yourself around. When using right click, if you point anywhere on the screen, it's going to draw you in a lot quicker than left click will. As you can see, I'm not even going to face it at all, and it's drawing me in very, very quick like that. Now we're going to go over how to get around using the left click web. So we're going to shoot it out. Next, I'm going to draw myself in around halfway, and then we're going to point forward and just kind of hold forward, and then we're going to press space to do a jump. So here we go. Point forward, and then a jump. And that's actually how you do that really cool jump, by the way. Alternatively, if you want to, you could also just hit X and just delatch, but it's just not as effective. So while using the jump, it doesn't even matter what direction you're facing in. You can launch yourself right off to the side. It doesn't even matter. Look at this. I basically launched myself almost backwards there. It's crazy. I'm going to do it here again. Boom. It's awesome. So next, I'm going to just show you guys a bit of an example of me using this. So we're going to just get around just a little bit while just using the left click single web. As you can see, I'm getting around very, very quick. You want to obviously keep in mind that you want lots of momentum and large angles like this to get yourself really, really far. Obviously, this terrain here is not perfect to do it in, but it's a bit more of a challenge, and that's what I really wanted to kind of get across here. Doing this in the bog biome would have been a lot easier, but also it's very, very dangerous there. And if you're not very good at using these things, using it in the bog biome might not be the best idea, considering the fact that there's more of these guys up the trees that want to drink your blood. So now we're going to go over the right-click ability. So first thing to note about this is that you have two little crosshairs there. We have the one just on that metal thing and then another one on that tree. This is how you position two webs in two different areas. Obviously, sometimes they're going to go very, very close to each other like that. But if you kind of position yourself a little bit, you can actually make them go completely separate, which is going to help a little bit with your swinging and launching. So while using the right click, I'm going to swing myself in here. I'm going to press space. I'm going to do it again right there. You can kind of swing a little bit, but it also pulls you in a lot more if you hold down right click. I find that the right click is a little bit easier and a little bit quicker for getting around with. But yeah, as you can see here, we're kind of getting a little bit stuck on the trees. So let me actually try and show you guys. It's very, very difficult to separate them, but as you can see right there, we managed to do it. Let's separate them again. Oh, I thought I would have it there, but then it disappeared. Let's try and do that again. There we go. So as you can see, like, we're getting around very, very quick with this. It's a lot easier to get higher as well while using the right click, but it's pretty much very, very similar to using the left click. The only difference is that it's just a lot faster. So let's go over how to actually use them in combination with each other. So you can start off with using just the left click and swinging yourself in like this, but I prefer to launch myself off, first of all, with a right click. So I've shot a web over there and a web right here, and we're going to draw ourselves in. And now we're going to start swinging just a little bit. So I'm going to make a giant swing right here. I might need to pull myself in just a little. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Okay, let's do that. Let's shoot another web over there. Launch ourselves forward. Let's do it again. Boom. So sometimes you might need to be moving your camera around quite a lot with this guy. But yeah, it's really, really simple once you get the hang of it. Now we're going to talk about wall climbing. So first of all, if you're on the ground, you can hold down shift, and that's going to get you this thing up here that says climbing. Pretty much the exact same as a rock drake, If I'm holding that down and walking up to a surface, it's going to put me right onto the wall, and I'm going to be able to walk up it. You don't actually have to hold shift while you're on the wall, and you can completely just move around, hit left, right, backwards. It doesn't really matter. You can go in whatever direction you want to. When you're on the wall, you can hit a couple buttons to let go. You can hit X, it's just going to drop you, or spacebar also does it as well. Another way to latch onto walls or surfaces is to draw yourself completely in. I recommend using right click. As you can see, it's kind of weird right now, but if I hold down space, it's going to completely latch me like that. So I'm going to show you that one more time. It's really simple, and we're on. When trying to latch onto a surface, you can't hold shift to do it like that when you're drawing yourself in with the web. It just doesn't work. So next up, let's go over jumping. So obviously this thing just has a normal jump like that if you hit spacebar, or you can hit spacebar and then hit it again and get another jump. This guy's also got a super jump, so if you hold down spacebar and just kind of like let it charge up, it doesn't really take long at all, and then let go, it's going to launch you right up into the sky like that. And that's a great way to take off, and obviously after that point you can shoot some webs and get around. You can also combine this with another jump in the air like that, but it doesn't really take you very high up. If you hold down space, charge up a thing, hold down shift, and then forward, it's going to do this. It's kind of like launching you forward. It looks really cool. So you can also glide on the Bloodstalker. First of all, I'm going to just jump up into the air, and then I'm going to hold down control. You can actually come out of like a web swing into a glide, which is very cool. But also when you're in the glide mode, you can combine this with some jumps and actually just stay up into the sky just a little bit. But you can't spam those jumps a huge amount. You can also aim the jump slightly while gliding and get around like this. Or I can go kind of sideways as well. Or backwards. So the Bloodstalker has this ability known as spider vision. It highlights creatures that you can grab like that, tamed creatures, and then it does not highlight creatures that you can't grab. So as you can see, this rhino over here, not highlighted at all. Doesn't matter if I was to attack him or anything like that, he would not get highlighted. If you really want to, I don't see why you would, but you can actually disable the spider vision right in here. So to grapple in creatures, what you got to do is just kind of get your crosshair purple and the purple like circles around the creature. You don't even have to be directly on it, and then you want to hit left click. At that point, you can hold it down and drag them fully in, and he's just going to start eating it. At the same time, your Bloodstalker will start eating its blood and obviously get healed from that. There's a 10-second cooldown between uses of the grappling ability, but you can also do this. You can hop off, and he's just going to pull it straight in for his little meal. You can also grapple in creatures when you're mounted on a surface. And one thing that you could potentially do is, you'd probably need an extra person, but you could just like hang them halfway like this, just suspend them in the air, and have another person shoot at it. It's not very effective if you're by yourself, because as you can see, when I'm trying to aim at it, he's kind of like moving a little bit. The Bloodstalker turns a little bit. It's just, that would be very difficult to get right. Although, I mean, it's probably possible. So let's pull this dodo fully in and eat it. My little Bloodstalker's hungry up here. So this ability could also be used to drag around creatures a little bit. Sometimes they kind of like, I guess the web gets broken, but most of the time you can roughly drag them around, and this would be really handy with dragging around like an Anki or a Dodic or something. One very horrifying thing about this ability is the fact that it does in fact work on your own creatures. As you can see, I can pull in little Momo right here. I could potentially kill him if I wanted to. If I hopped off or crashed right now, he would get eaten, but I don't really want that to happen because I love my little guy. So if you think the ability to eat your own creatures is horrifying, this is even worse. If you're riding on a Bloodstalker and he takes damage and gets below 40% of his maximum health, he will start to eat you, and you're going to see that happen right now. As you can see, he's eating me. It's horrifying. Look at that. He's healing a little bit, not a huge amount, and I am dying quite quick. He also doesn't care. He'll just drain you until he's above 40%. There is a way to counteract him actually eating you. If you have blood packs in your inventory, he'll drink those instead of your own blood. So to attack when you're using this creature, you want to hit C. It's the only attack button. So as you can see, we kind of do slices with the little arms right there, and we've just killed this Dodic. Now, here's something really funny. Once you've already killed a creature, you can actually pick them up by going up to it and hitting G. That's going to pick up the corpse. Now, this is going to really slow you down, but you can actually use your webs to get around doing this. If you jump in any way, it's going to drop the corpse. So we don't want to do that at all. But yeah, it's kind of funny. This could be very useful for getting around while maybe holding like an Ovis or something. Obviously, we've got to kind of shoot through the Dodic, so it gets a little bit awkward sometimes. As you can see, the webs just aren't working. There we go. They finally worked. Let's draw ourselves in. But yeah, you hold on to it pretty steady here. Obviously there I kind of bumped against that rock, so we had to let go. You'll have a lot of fun if you bring your Bloodstalker to the ocean biome on Genesis, because this thing can actually skim across the surface of the water. We have a water walking ability up in the corner right there, and we can also target fish and drag them up to the surface to eat. They just kind of die immediately though. While you're on the surface of the water, if you hit X, you'll start to dive down. This thing's not that great in the water. He's relatively quick, but obviously it's not really much of a fighter, and there's a lot of dangerous creatures in the ocean. Unfortunately as well, C is the attack button, and C in the water will take you lower, so whenever you go to attack, you're just going to go lower in the water. It's also worth mentioning that the webs do not work when you're in the water. If you want to get out of the water, you can just swim right up to the surface and then just hit X. And it would just take you directly onto the surface again. So now we're going to go over some of the different abilities that it has. So first of all, if you're on a web and you want to lower yourself, you can hold down C to do so. So the left click web can also be used to kind of pendulum yourself around like this. So I just have a single web up there and I'm just hitting like left and right and kind of going with the swing here. And after a little minute here, you'll see we're kind of getting some nice momentum like this. So that's really cool, and it's kind of a little bit fun as well. It's worth noting that if the Bloodstalker is on fire, you cannot do any webs, so be very cautious with this dude in the volcano area. While using the Bloodstalker, if you try to pull out a weapon, he's gonna actually stand up like this and kind of walk around a little bit slower than he usually would, but you can full on just use whatever you want. Weapons, tools, mining tool I definitely recommend, because these guys have pretty decent weight, to be honest. It's worth noting that you can also pull out weapons on the Bloodstalker when you're latched to surfaces, or even when you're swinging as well. So if you throw out some webs and then walk backwards, as you can see, they start to get a little bit of tension, and then if you let go, your Bloodstalker just flies forward. It's not that useful, but it is kind of cool. So something really funny about the Bloodstalker is that you can actually use emotes while on it. Now your character doesn't do it, but the Bloodstalker does. Here is the thank you one. As you can see, does a bit of a bow. Then we also have taunt. Yes and no also work, but they're not very noticeable. The other two that work are panic and archer flex. Also, bicep smooch does the exact same thing as the archer flex. So here is the archer flex. And then here is panic. Although this is pretty much not even panic emote, I do believe that they kind of mixed this up or something, because it seems like he's doing the dance. This also works if you dismount the creature, so you could probably create some sort of little scenario where, you know, your creature's dancing behind you and then you can dance in front of them. Oh my god, that is perfect synchronization. Also, these emotes do work when you're riding on the surface of the water. Okay, so this is a really weird one, but drink beer and look at the Bloodstalker names. First of all, just look at the names. They're not anything different. And then we drink beer. Look at their names now. This is amazing. Flying spaghetti monster, I love it. So yeah, that is what happens when you drink beer and look at Bloodstalkers. I'm guessing in a drunken state you might think that this is something crazier than it is, even though it's pretty crazy. Oh my god, I went out of render distance and some of these names changed. Oh, I went away, damn it. Okay, so from what I can tell, riding around on a Bloodstalker while drunk doesn't really seem to make a difference. But maybe I'm missing something? I'm not sure. So that is it for everything that the Bloodstalker can do. At least I think. I mean, I'm learning new things every single day with this dude. And it's already been out like 2 weeks now. So guys, if you did enjoy this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see more like this, you can of course subscribe. And let me know which one of these abilities is your favorite. And if I left anything out, definitely let me know down below. I won't follow up this video, but I'll probably like heart those comments or something. So yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.